Hello everyone. Hello everyone and welcome to our open classroom hosted by students in the Media and Palestine course. This seminar is presented in collaboration with the Palestinian culture.
Sir, could you mute the mics, please? We're going to get started here. When I was speaking? So speak, Ayah. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
You're muted.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up. Nasser? Thank you. Go ahead, please, Ayah.
Hello everyone and welcome to our open classroom hosted by students in the Media and Palestine course. This seminar is presented in collaboration with the Palestinian Cultural and Educational Clubs. We are broadcasting live from the Lebanese American University here in Beirut, and we are pleased to welcome Ms. Sundus Hamad from Beirut University in Palestine and Ms. Sausan Masri, Country Director for Town Welfare Association here in Lebanon. Both guests are joining us today to discuss Scholasticide, or how war impacts education in Palestine and in Lebanon. We start this classroom with having conversations with Ms. Hamad, and afterwards we will listen to the message from LAU students to students in Gaza. And we also hope to hear from students in Palestine joining us today. Then we'll hear testimonies from students in Lebanon, and after this we'll hear from Ms. Sausan about Ta'awan's work in Lebanon supporting education for Palestinians. We also hope to have a discussion with the seminar's audience in the time remaining. Before we turn to our guests, we need to motivate the seminar. Why are we hosting this discussion on Scholasticide from the Lebanese American University? Here's a short video survey conducted on campus where students from the Media and Palestine course asked LAU students to define Scholasticide.
شيء بالظهر بالاديوكيشن بركة او شيء هيك
شي خشب بسكوليوز سكولاستيسايد لا شي خصو جينوسايد
No, actually, I have no idea.
nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Okay, try to guess.
Scholasticide?
Yes.
Does that have to do something with like pesticide?
No. Scholasticide? No, but collapsing, like, I would think it's either medical or something with destruction. But it reminds me of collapse. Okay. Many students are not familiar with the term, even in the meet Palestinian schools, and this motivates our learning in our seminar activities.
We would like to thank Mrs. Sundus Hamad, coordinator of the Right to Education campaign from the Beirut University in Western Pakistan, for joining us on the LAU campus today. But first, we would like to share this infographic prepared by May Saloon on what is Scholasticide, based on the article co-authored by Sundus, and she will join us to say a few words in Arabic about her visualization.
يعطيكم العافية. مع الأسف
في هذا التايم بحب أشارككم معكم around reading اللي قريناه. بال 1920 1948 ما كان في عندنا جامعات بغزة ولا بفلسطين نتيجة للاحتلال البريطاني اللي كان موجود. بال 48 صارت النكبة الفلسطينيين طبعا كانت مرحلة جدا صعبة. بال 1950 اجت أنوا وعملت مدارس للريفيوجيز كامب. بعدين عندنا ب 72 بيرزيت يونيفرسيتي افتتحت. بال 67 الاحتلال الاسرائيلي اثر كثير على الواقع التعليمي لفلسطين بهذه المرحله، او اثر كثير على الاديوكيشن سيستم. من 82 لل 2024 اكثر من 2500 بيرزيت يونيفرسيتي ستودنت بس بهيدي الجامعه انحبسوا وتعرضوا للتعذيب. وبعدها بال 2024 بال 2025 البالستينيان اديوكيشن تعرضت للجينوسايد والسكولستوسايد. هيدي يعني بشكل عام قائمه جدا مختصر عن الواقع التعليمي من 1920 لل 2025.
So we have some questions for Sundus. And the first one is there still any university in Gaza that are still operating, or have all higher institutions have been bombed due to ongoing genocide?
Can you hear me well?
Now, yes.
Okay. So hello everyone. Thank you so much for having us today. Actually, there's an echo. I'm sorry. Okay. So I'm here with other students by the Right to Education campaign volunteers here. We have 6 of them in the room. I will turn the camera for you to see them, because unfortunately we had a technical program, a technical issue, so we couldn't have the video conference. But here are the students. Say hi, everyone. And we have also students who are with us online. For your first question, since the start of the genocide, actually, the first thing that in the first week of the genocide, the Israeli occupation did is bombing all the universities in Gaza. And the number of buildings who have been bombed, I'm speaking about higher education institutions, buildings, are more than 60 buildings. All these buildings have been completely or partially demolished by this bombardment. Yet, you would think that Gaza universities have finished and they do not exist anymore. Yet, since June 2024, the main 3 public non-for-profit universities in Gaza has collectively joined and work together in what they call the Emergency Committee of Gaza Universities, and they start resuming online teaching for Gaza students. I'm speaking about the 3 main largest universities: Al-Aqsa University of Gaza, the Islamic University of Gaza, and Al-Azhar University. These universities, before the war, they used to provide education for more than 70% of higher education students in Gaza. Today, they are the they provide the most of higher education for Gaza students. And under the bombardment, under the starvation, under the unimaginable conditions, the academics of Gaza universities are teaching voluntary, just volunteering without being paid even, to continue the education system and to just survive what is going on. And yes, basically that's the answer on your question. So today, after the ceasefire, some of the private universities have started to resume their online teaching, but mostly um, the three main largest universities in Gaza resumed since last year.
Thank you. So you recently published a free open access article in the journal Curriculum Inquiry on Scholasticide titled Scholasticide and Resilience, um, the Gaza Genocide and the Struggle for Palestinian Education. So why is it important to mention resilience when talking about scholasticide?
Of course. So you would, in order to understand this, you would have to understand why education is important for Palestinians under the context of settler colonialism. And in Palestine, education is not for only getting knowledge and develop your society. It's part of your existence as a Palestinian. It's part of our struggle to liberation. It is our indigenous empowerment. It is our resistance to the status quo. So whenever you like when or since 1948 actually until today, you would see different examples of resilience in the education system as Palestinians aspired to have their education as the future of their generation and the generations to come. So today, when you see the genocide, and you would think that the priority for the people of Gaza is just to survive the genocide, or even to have food under this starvation, to have a safe place under this continuous brutality. Yet, education is also their priority. They are being taught in the tents, and they started schools and universities from the tents. And if this is not resilience, then it's what? And it shows us also how Palestinians think of their education as not only their existence, but also a way where they are aware of their other human rights, their full human rights. So if you are not educated, then how you'd be feeling or knowing what freedom is? So it all is part of the resilience or the sumud, which is part and parcel of our life as Palestinians.
Sorry, we're both.
Thank you. So can you please tell us more about the Right to Education campaign and how can we as LAU students and faculty help the campaign?
Yes, so the Right to Education campaign is a campaign that emerged from a long history of activism in Birzeit University. It has been established in 1988, the first uprising. We call it the first Intifada. At that time, education was considered by the Israeli occupation illegal for Palestinians. So all schools, universities, even nurseries were closed by military orders from the Israeli occupation. One of them was Birzeit University, which was closed for 51 consecutive months at that time. And you would think that this is the first time that Birzeit was closed, but no, since 1972 until 1988, which is the years of establishing the university, the first university in Palestine, Birzeit University. Birzeit was targeted to be closed 15 times, 15 military orders of closure. So the main component of the campaign at that time was to break the isolation of higher education in Palestine and to expose the violations imposed on us as Palestinians. Today, the campaign is considered a grassroots campaign that is led by student volunteers from Birzeit University, and we work on documenting the violations and providing legal support and representation for students and academics who get imprisoned by the Israeli occupation. And we provide them a lawyer for free. We also help them academically and financially when they are released. Also, part of our work is the advocacy and solidarity work that we connect with students and activists and academics around the world to speak about the right to education for Palestinians and for basically making the students the stakeholders of their own cause. So for us, the volunteers of the Right to Education campaign, they are the main base of our campaign. They are their efforts and their work is much appreciated, and they have the space to work regardless the student movement that they belong to or not, if they don't belong to any student movement. What you can do as students, I think that it's really important to just keep in mind that as students, you need to connect with Palestinians. We cannot tell you what type of I'm sorry. We cannot tell you what type of activities or events you would do on the ground, but we would say just keep the compass to Palestine and keep connecting with Palestinians on the ground for them to lead the way for how they would they be represented in your events and your activities, and just connecting with Palestinian students. That would also just give the space for Palestinian students to amplify their voices and make a change on the ground. I'm sure that you know about the BDS and the cultural and academic boycott of Israel and cutting ties with any Israeli universities. I'm sure that the Lebanese universities are not complicit in this way, but also to keep in mind that you need to cut ties with any companies around the world that your university might be investing in and might be complicit in the genocide, apartheid, occupation in Palestine. So also to just be aware that the struggle for Palestinian students is a struggle for liberation. And this is something that we have intersectionality with you guys. And I think opening this dialogue with Palestinian students all the time is something really important. You can build on it to have projects together, to have unified calls to actions, to have seminars, to have many events mutually. I would give the space for the students on the room. I know that I talk too much and they are waiting, looking at me and saying, when is our turn? But yeah, for me, that's what I think. And thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your insight وشكرا للتلاميذ اللي كانوا موجودين معنا اليوم. مايك.
شكرا لكم كثير ويعطيكم العافية. If you want to hear from them, they are here, and we would be really happy to open that space where you can just connect together. Thank you.
Hello, how are you? So now we'll be showing you a video, and after that we'll be taking messages from the students who are with you.
Hello, my name is Yafa Marouf. I'm a psychology major at LEU, and I'm half Palestinian, half Syrian. And during the war, thankfully not a lot happened and affected my livelihood, and university was very easy was hard, of course, and no, war is a very hard thing to go through, but obviously it wasn't as hard as most people. But I do remember during the war having a hard time conceptualizing a lot of things that were going on and being able to balance education and my emotions and with everything that's going on, especially in Palestine, and it being so close to us and not being able to do a thing. So I think that experience allowed me to understand why education is so important for resistance, and why education is really, especially during wartime, especially as people that are so young that are still trying to figure out our lives, education is one of the most important and most powerful things that we have against our oppressor. Education is what allows us to revolt and be able to defeat the oppressor, and this is something that I've grown to understand its importance of, and especially as a psychology student, understanding the consequences of colonization and genocide and oppression on psychology and someone's psychology, and being able to understand how education is able to help that as well.
So we wanted to share messages from LEU students for students in Gaza, and here is the video. So now we'll be taking the message from students.
Ask her if she can hear you.
Can you hear us?
Okay, so maybe we're just gonna move on to the next element.
Can you hear Nadia?
Yes, no.
Okay.
Oh, it's not here. Yeah, this is what she wants us to hear.
مش سامعين؟ اوكي. انت وطي. اوكي. So عادي احكي بالعربي ولا لازم انجليزي؟ اوكي. فمبدئيا احنا كطلاب عرفت عن حالي، ما سمعوني؟ تمام اوكي. Sorry everyone. مرحبا، اسمي نادية موسى، طالبة في جامعة بئر زيت، طالب أدب إنجليزي وترجمة، وعضوة في حملة الحق في التعليم. رسالتي لكل العالم إنه إحنا طلاب فلسطين في جامعاتنا عم بيتم الاعتداء، خلينا نحكي على أبسط حقوقنا واللي هو الحق في التعليم. أنا حتى لما أكون داخل حرم الجامعة بيتم الاعتداء على البوابات والاعتداء على الطلاب وعلى الحراس وعلى الأساتذة بشكل غير مصرح به، خلينا نحكي. فرسالتنا إنه يتم منحنا أبسط حقوقنا واللي هو الحق في التعليم والتعبير، ونوقف ونستنكر إيش بيعمل الاحتلال، لأنه هذا حق من حقوقنا وميثاق في المواثيق العالمية. فرسالتنا إنه هذا حقي، والاحتلال مش رح ينجح في إنه يسكت صوتنا، خلينا نحكي.
وكمان مجرد الحديث معكم والدعم، خلينا نحكي بس النفسي إلنا، وقوفكم جنبنا، توصلوا صوتنا، هذا بيعني إلنا كثير، لأنه الاعتداءات اللي بتصير مش لازم إنه ينسكت عنها والاحتلال يأخذ مجراه في اللي هو بيعمله ويوصل لنقطة إنه يطمس هويتنا وحقنا في التعبير. وشكرا لكم.
Hi, we're using the same phone, which is confusing. But hi, I'm Misk. I'm a fourth year student. I study linguistics, literature, and translation. I'm also a fellow at AUB, which is exciting. So I just wanted to say that here at Birzeit University or in Palestinian universities in general, we face many phases of censorship, many ways where we're censored. For example, the criminalization of the students' movement, or how even being a student itself is criminalized in many ways. So I think that in a way, education in Palestine is becoming a tool for resistance, where we are educating ourselves and educating others as a way of conveying our narrative. The Zionist entity is a very transnational entity. It has Zionist groups all over the world, Zionist lobby groups, and throwing millions of dollars at us to stop our narrative being shared. But what I think is important is that we need to keep sharing that narrative, because, as I said, education is a tool of resistance. And so I think that although the Israeli entity is transnational, we're transnational too. And us being in this conference is a very big proof of that, where we're trying to convey our narrative to you, and you can convey it, I mean, in your context as well. So we really appreciate the work of solidarity or advocacy that you're doing, and sharing our narrative and so on. Because at the end of the day, we can play the same war of narratives, and education is one of the facets where we can be playing that war. Thank you.
مش عم نقدر نسمعك. I think you're muted.
مرحبا، كيف حالكم؟ طبعا طالبة بجامعة بيرزيت وعضو بحملة الحق للتعليم، بدرس هندسة حاسوب. من الأشياء اللي حابة أحكي فيها هو أشياء بتلامس واقعنا كطلاب فلسطينيين ومش كتير بيتم عرضها. هو جامعتنا جامعة بيرزيت جامعة عريقة وبتجمع طلاب من كل مناطق فلسطين. فمن الأشياء اللي بواجهها الطلاب عندنا هو الإعاقة في الحركة، بيكون صعب الوصول جدا للحركة، الحواجز اللي طالب بدل ما يوصل بساعة ساعتين بأخذ 5 ساعات بظروف.
مش عم نقدر نسمعك. بعتقد راح الصوت.
No, I didn't mute her.
We can't hear you.
Test. We had it. Just tell her that it dropped for some reason, but tell her we want to share the messages with students here, okay? This is where we fixed it.
We'll be sharing messages from students from here while they're fixing the problem.
to stay strong وكل السبورت لكم صراحة، شو ما كان كيف فينا نساعدكم، شو ما whatever in any possible way نحن هون.
وعن جد هن عالم كتير قوية اللي يقدروا يتحملوا اللي عم بيصير فيهم، especially انه ما صار لها شهر وشهرين، صار لها أكثر من سنة القصة. So they're very brave and strong.
هلا انه تخلص هالحرب وكلنا انه نقدر انه نكفي الحياة مثل ما كانت، وان شاء الله تجيكم الخير.
This time will pass, nothing stays the same. If you lost this year or the past year or whatever, don't lose hope. You must complete your education because your education is the only weapon for you in life.
One of the most important aspects, and no person should not have the right for education.
Yes, I would like to say, and we all feel with you. We all understand the pain that you're going through. Not exactly, we understand it, but we feel with you. You are very strong. You are.
Okay, so now we'll be continuing by hearing the message from Sahar, who was already speaking.
Or
Leith. No, not yet. We can't hear you.
Okay, so let's see if Nate or Abbas or Malak on the call wants to join. Ask
Leith want to join if he's on the call. Meanwhile, Malak or Abbas. Sahar, I still can't hear you. Yeah, I'm sorry.
So I think we need to move on to, oh, here's more. Try this one. Yeah, now we can hear you. Tell her.
I think now we can hear you.
Okay. I don't see a box.
Leith, no.
Okay, Aya, we're going to transition. Tell them that we're going to transition.
So we'll be continuing with our next guest from Beirut while we'll be fixing the problem.
Before we introduce our guest, we wanted to share this infographic prepared by Salim about the impact of the war on education in Lebanon in 2020.
Okay.
in a way انه كنت انا عم بدرس وعم فكر باهلي وكل مره شوف وورنينج حوالين بيتنا ما اقدر كفي درس وبنفس الوقت استشهد مدير مدرستي واثرت علي كثير لانه يعني صرت وقف درس ما كنت قادره ادرس بالمره وكان عقلي عند اهلي وفي اختي الصغيره كمان هي بمدرسه وهددوا المدرسه اللي هي كانت فيها فكل هالاشياء اثرت علي انها نيجاتيف واي.
We are pleased to welcome Ta'awun, Lebanon's country director, Ms. Sausan Masri. Thank you for joining us on LAU Beirut campus today. Ms. Masri is a Palestinian whose family is from Nablus. She's in charge of Ta'awun's activities in Lebanon, which are aimed at meeting the different needs of 500,000 Palestinians living here. Her background living in Lebanon and working as the country director of Ta'awun provide an important viewpoint for our conversation about how war affects education.
Okay. Should I start?
Yeah.
You want to ask me the questions?
Yes.
Yeah.
So how did the war impact education, including educational institutions and resources for Palestinians in Lebanon.
For Palestinians specifically.
Yes.
I will mention before going into how the war impacted education in Lebanon, I will mention a little bit the background of the education system in Lebanon, because the war did was it exacerbated an already fragile system. يعني I will mix Arabic and English. يعني كان هو القطاع التعليمي أساساً عنده مشاكل كبيرة. The main problem in our education system is highly inequitable. يعني في ناس بتتعلم منيح بتروح على مدارس خاصة they receive the best quality education and they have access to education with no risks of dropping out or quitting education, whereas a good chunk of society go to lower quality education. They're usually from lower socioeconomic backgrounds, from impoverished areas or from peripheral areas. يعني ابن عكار ما بيتعلم أو أولاد المخيم ما بيتعلموا للأسف مثل بيتعلموا ابن بيت. So there is high inequality. هذا بيأثر على the outputs. Besides this, the education profession is not valued. It's very much underpaid. The crisis that Lebanon has witnessed over the past 5 years was also, it contributed heavily to even make the education outputs even much more in a dire situation. Lebanon always score low in standardized tests. للأسف مشاكله كبيرة. Spending the government, how much government spends on education or UNRWA spends on education is below what usually on average countries spend from the GDP. يعني إذا بناخذ share of spending من GDP كمان واطي. So مشاكلنا بالتعليم كبيرة و structural وعم بتوصل إنه التعليم بلبنان ما عم بيعطي education outputs أو مخرجات تعليم بنوعية جيدة. الوضع نفسه عند الفلسطينيين it's even much more in a worse situation because Palestinians live in high poverty. 90 هلا بعد financial crisis the figures بتتراوح between 85 to 90% poverty rates among Palestinian refugees in Lebanon, and this has a huge toll on education. Why? Because when people are poorer, they tend to remove their kids from education. بالأونروا and UNRWA schools enrollment rate بتبلش 98 at grade 1 بتنتهي بالسكندري بتصير 60%. يعني معناته تقريبا 1 out of 2 students leave school with education before they reach secondary, which is a huge problem. لأنه شو معناتها؟ هاي معناتها عندنا high dropout rate and those kids went to labor or to early marriage at a very early age. They are then at يعني risk of all sorts of risky behaviors. يمكن يفوتوا مع فصائل مسلحة، يمكن يروحوا على drugs أو يروحوا على عمل غير ملائم لعمرهم. So I think this is the major problem that Palestinian refugees face in terms of education. Why do kids leave school? Poverty is definitely a major player, a major contributor. لأنه أولاد الأغنياء ما بتترك مدرسة، عادة اللي معه مصاري مرتاح لو كان الولد ما منيح ولو كانت التعليم they would still fight to keep the kids in the school. The kid would not بالعكس ما حتى يوصل على الجامعة. It's a problem that has to do with poverty. بس شو بيزيد عليها؟ The quality of education of UNRWA that is very much under strain because of low funding. UNRWA schools هلا قايمة بالمخيمات. The Palestinians among you might know لأنه UNRWA schools have around 50 kids per classroom. What kind of quality of education those kids will receive when a teacher has to manage 50 students in one classroom? Plus كل ما بيصير أحداث مثل بجنوب أو بعين الحلوة دايماً عم بيصير في أحداث في مدارس تدمروا. So they merge schools. بيصيروا عندهم two shifts. So students are receiving less hours of education and and the teacher has to manage 50 children, 50 students in one classroom. وزيدوا عليها طبعا teaching methods اللي هي عند اللبنانية وعند الفلسطينية قديمة ومش interactive وما فيها ال 21 first مش يسموهم مهارات القرن ال 20 حافظينهم انتم problem solving critical thinking وكل هذا طبعا غير موجود. فهي كل هالمشاكل الحرب زادت قامتها. يعني اوريدي نحن ماشيين بمأساة بموضوع التعليم، اجت حرب عملت بعض اضرار. طبعا مثل ما شفتوا يعني موضوع المنتل هيلث ومنتل تول اوف ذا وور، حكت قالت انا وضعي النفسي ما كان منيح، مدير استشهد. موضوع المدارس اللي صاروا شلترز، موضوع الانكويتي، في ناس تعلموا during the war private schools كانوا عم بيتعلموا والpublic ما عم بيتعلموا، هذا شيء مش مقبول. هال inequity. فكل هاي الحرب اجت فطمتها. حاولت اختصر بس مش كثير. والكوفيد والlearning loss يعني في كثير مشاكل، شو بدنا نحكي لنحكي.
Okay. So what needs to be done to support students in Lebanon facing war on their education?
What needs to be done? كثير needs to be done. A lot needs to be done. One, there should be a strategy. هلا الجوفرمنت وزارة التربية كانت عاملة شيء اسمه Education Emergency EECC Plan مثل response plan لا تتعاطى مع هاي المشاكل، وخصوصا لموضوع كل المشاكل اللي واجهها لبنان قبل including COVID, including financial crisis. الأساتذة خسروا الانكم تبعهم، يعني كان افريج استاذ يقبض 1003 صار يقبض $100. هذا كله حطوا مثل الامرجنسي بلان الدوله. للاسف من هالامرجنسي بلان ما اجى فاندنج غير لا مش حافظه الفاندنج، كان يمكن شي 30 مليون بعرف قد ايه، اجى 1 أو 2% او 1 مليون. فهو المفروض يكون في comprehensive strategy, comprehensive plan how do we deal with this problem. بياخذ بعين الاعتبار عدد كبير من المسائل، موضوع الداتا يكون عندنا proper data ونشوف for quality assurance، موضوع نرجع نعيد الهيبه للستيت. Nobody wants to go into education. كم واحد منكم هون is an education major؟ برافو، هدول الابطال. لأنه nobody wants to go into education because of the low pay, low recognition. So one thing is also to bring recognition. Political interference كمان whether عند الفلسطينيين أو عند اللبنانيين في تدخل للفصائل السياسية الفلسطينية واللبنانية بالتعليم، مين منعين ومين وشو بنعمل، وإذا بنفتح المدرسة أو بنسكر المدرسة كمان هذا لازم يروح. طبعا في موضوع الفunding. I think this is the most important thing. Funding for the past year, the education system can heavily reliant on funding from UNESCO, from UNICEF, from EU, from the World Bank. لو ما الفندنج اللي اجى ما كان واقف على رجليه قطاع التعليم. So this is وطبعا improve the teaching methods and the curriculum. اخر مره عملوا تعديل بالكريكولم بلبنان 1997 عند الفلسطينيين بالأونروا بيلحقوا نفس المنهج تبع الدوله. فكمان whenever the curriculum بالجوفرمنت بيتحسن عند الأونروا. It's exactly the point.
Thank you, Susan, for joining us today and sharing about your work. We appreciate it.
Okay. أهلا وسهلا فيك.
Nasser says hello from Windows.
يا أهلا ناصر. Yes, I know him. I've met him, and he was kind to تعاون. مرحب ناصر. Good to see you again.
Let them know we just
in Arabic. فبعد عنا بس كم دقيقة إذا بتحبوا تشاركونا messages من فلسطين.
Yes, I think we have live with us.
سندس، سحر،
Maybe
نادية.
live, you can take live.
سندس ما عم نسمعك.
Can you take live? Can you hear me now?
منه connected بقى.
Okay, it's okay. Okay, so
في عنا سحر زياد ونادية.
okay, so Sahar here wants to also have a message to you guys.
أول شيء حابة كثير أتشكر دعمكم لنا وصمودكم معنا وقفتكم معنا كمان. حابة أحكي لكم عن تجربة مرقنا فيها قبل فترة. رحنا نزور مدرسة في بيت لقيا، هي قرية عندنا موجودة في فلسطين، وكان المدرسة وضعها كثير سيء لأنه الاحتلال بيمنعوهم يتعلموا، بيمنعوهم يمارسوا تعليمهم وحقهم في التعليم كمان. هي مدرسة صغيرة على مستوى القرية، وهي أساساً اللي بتأسس كل الطلاب في القرية، فهي أساس التعليم هناك بهذيك القرية. فقبل فترة رحنا لحتى يبنوا صفوف جديدة فوق الصف السابع، فما وافقوا لأنه صار يحكوا إنه الاحتلال كل ما إحنا نبني صفوف جديدة بدمرهم، برجع بعيد تدميرهم. فهذا الإشي كتير سيء صراحة بالنسبة لإلنا، إنه إحنا بنواجه كتير صعوبات بالتعليم واستكمال تعليمنا. فأنا حابة كتير أشكركم، بشكر دعمكم لإلنا ووقفتكم معنا، وشكرا كتير.
Thank you. شكرا كثير جريتشن، شكرا كثير لجميع الطلاب الرائعين اللي سمعونا اليوم. واحنا كمان بشرفنا دائما انه نكون على تواصل معاكم ونشتغل معاكم. Thank you so much for having us today and for listening to us. And we would love to stay in contact so we can have like more events together in the future. Thank you.
شكرا لكم. في عنا ما يسألون.
اوكي، بس كنت محضرة شيء بشاركه معكم، انه بالايكونوميك امباكت اوف ذا جينوسايد اون Gaza's education عندنا نسبة البطالة 80% and GDP تبع غزة 34% و18 سنة من الحصار. وعندنا إذا بدنا نحن هلا نبلش نشتغل على تعديل وإعادة تعمار للإديوكيشن فقط بالعشر سنين، عندنا 53 بليون دولار لنقدر بهول 10 سنين نحن نقدر نحصل إذا بدنا نروح للحل. بالديستركشن اوف يونيفرسيتي عندنا اسلاميك يونيفرسيتي اوف غزة، عندنا انفراستراكشر بقلبها 70 مليون دولار، tuition revenue 19 مليون دولار، operation cost 26.2 مليون دولار، وريستركشن نيدد لنقدر نرجع نظبطها 300 مليون دولار. وعندنا البيلدينج لوس 76 مليون دولار، وبالاقصى يونيفرسيتي انفراستراكشر لوس 72 مليون دولار. هودي بالارقام. اذا نحن بدنا نروح لنسبه البطاله 80%، يعني قد ايه حيصير في عندنا هجره ادمغه. وعندنا في شيء بيثبت statistics with sources انه the Palestinians have some of the highest rates of education and literacy in the world. ومع الاسف هذا اللي عم بيصير معنا كله سوا. وinstitutional complicity عندنا 36 اسرائيلي يونيفرسيتي and college بيحبسوا اكثر من 124 فلسطيني ستودنتس، بيحبسوهم من وراء سوشيال ميديا بوست بالسنه بس لانه انحطوا بوست عن غزه ودعموا هن بيحبسوهم. This is my بس مداخلتي. Thank you.
Good answer. Your frame can go for the camera. For the laptop. Okay, anyway.
Okay, so we would like to thank both Ms. Sandos and Ms. Tausan for being with us and sharing their knowledge. And thanks to the students who joined us from Palestine. And we also thank the Palestinian Cultural and Educational Clubs and the Media and Palestine students from the Lebanese American University for organizing this open classroom. And thank you all for joining this seminar and participating in student-led learning about Scholasticide and how war impacts education. Let us continue to raise awareness and support the right to education for every Palestinian and Lebanese students.
Or raise your hand, Carol, if you want to say bye. Carol, do you want to invite Sundus? Let's see. Yeah, here's the students. Here's Nadia. You can talk to Nadia. Oh, Nadia's gone. Anyway, anybody have any message to say? No, you just want to wave goodbye? And babies? To Carol.
Bye.